Imagine that. The YouTube channel based around knives and you see a knife. Very shocking. The shocking part is that you're the first person here. That part I'm actually surprised about. Dakota, what's up? Dakota, I don't know if I told you already. I'm pretty sure that I did, but I'm not 100% sure, so I figure I'd tell you now. The PM2 is on hold for you already. And no mod today, AJ. Holy Cat, what's up? How's it going? I'm doing fine. Just sitting there waiting for more knives to show up. Oh, what were the results? Since all your fingers work, I'm assuming you it was good news. Liquid Grin, what's up? How's it going? Oh. Well, that's unfortunate. So what's the plan? Tune, what's up? How's it going? Sure. Did I decide on what Benchmade? What? Oh. Probably gonna sell it, but I don't know. It needs some work before I sell it. The fact that she's taking a shower this late, god damn. That's a duck, not a goose. Ah. I sharpen them as they dull, so speaking of which, this could use a touch up. After the shit that I just did to it, yeah. I just went out and cut some double thick cardboard, and this thing didn't like that. Oh, that's better. Oh, this thing's thick as fuck. It's a chunky boy. But it's good for when I need to do light prying, like on frozen meat or something. I won't become a volcano. Shit done a tape residue on it though. We'll take care of that too. It's growing on me a little bit. I need to give it a fair shake because what we got to keep in mind is the knife I carried before that was 5 times the price. And getting back used to these more budget-friendly knives has not been enjoyable. Yeah, when I'm doing double thick cardboard, I need something that can handle it. And Joe Average Knife ain't gonna do it. You can slice an apple of tomato. Glad to hear that we have another QB fan in here. This is actually my first knife of theirs. And I bought it to replace an Arius that I have up for sale. Not quite sure if it stacks up to the Arius, but it costs 7 times less, so I can't be complaining too much. Yeah, isopropyl alcohol. Just in general, I use that stuff for the whole thing. I went with purple because I never saw pictures of the purple one. Everybody else had all the other ones, and you know, this was available and I'd never seen it before, so bam, went and bought it. And I love purple, so I use 70% because it costs a lot less. And it does just about the same job as the higher percent stuff. There's a burr across this whole thing. It needs some help. We'll sharpen it real quick. But first I want to look at it under the microscope, see how bad of a burr we're talking. Yep. I don't usually prefer larger knives. My sweet spot on size tends to be about 3 to 3.5 inches of blade length. Yep, there's a burr. I was looking at the Supercell earlier. Not sure if I want one though. They don't make it in purple, I don't think. Yeah, that burr is huge. I just completely missed that section when sharpening. Oh, I didn't realize we were that close to the edge. Yeah, you can see, if it'll focus, 2 different angles on the edge. The very edge, which is the factory angle that I completely missed, and the rest of it, which I didn't miss. Means I need to resharpen. You see that shiny spot on the edge? That's a burr. That's the spot that I never sharpened. Yeah, the Supercell looks good, but if it doesn't come in a color that I'm going to want, then I'm not going to buy it. Oh, and yeah, when I'm taking a huge jump from this down to this, you know, no, the strop, I already tried that. It's a full sharpening failure that totally my fault. I just wanted to get it done fast, and I think I spent like 15 minutes on it already, so obviously fast is not the way to go. Do it right the first time, guys. The extra time means that you don't sit there suffering later. Kershaw's higher end stuff is pretty nice. That's who I'd push you to, because if you're in North America, you can have parts shipped to you for free if anything breaks, except for the blade or the handles, scales, whatever. Another one that just a single knife I can recommend, because it's got a lifetime, no questions asked warranty, is the Icon knife from Harbor Freight. And usually I don't support, um, you know, taking other people's designs, but they've got that thing locked to a point where it's half the price of the original, and it has a lifetime warranty against everything, including being dumb with it. So that's kind of hard to beat. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely wish that they used their own design. I think Benchmade's overpriced. They make good stuff. They're just priced too high. They dropped the price on everything by like $40. Except for the Griptilian. The Griptilian, if they dropped it by like 10, it'd be perfect. But the Bug Out's overpriced. The Osborne's actually, yeah, it's overpriced. Yeah, we're talking Benchmade. Oh, don't give me that crap. Yeah, you better come loose. Oh, thank God. Give me just a sec, guys. I'm taking the pocket clip off the QB real quick. I can't sit there and sharpen it the way that I was. Yeah, I'd never purchase one for their prices. Again, the only one that's reasonably priced is, I mean, there's a couple, but the first one that comes to mind is the Griptilian with the spider hole. Other than that, most of them are like good 40, 50 bucks too expensive. And I own a few, but I buy them used, so. Chris, what's up? How's it going? Oh, duh. Let me go grab my other phone. I don't know which bushcraft knife you're talking about. And again, I'm not saying they make a bad knife. I'm saying that they are priced too high. Heat treat on this thing's on point, by the way. I think we're still talking about Benchmade. Well, this perfectly explains why this thing wasn't shaving sharp by the time I was done with it. Sit there and missed half the blade the whole time I was sharpening. Fun fact, I know you guys see that hair right there. If you leave a hair on your stone while sharpening, it may cause issues with consistency. Let's find something that I can take that off with. There we go. I'll look at that here in just a sec. Yep, just completely missing half the blade. AUS 10 is one of those few steels where every time I've touched it, there was something wrong with it. I'm not going to blame you on that one. I think AUS 10 just needs to be phased out at this point. Everybody heat treats it wrong. I appreciate that. Some of them are a little bit pricey, but they look nice. Pocket jewelry. I think this is the only knife where somebody might ask me what knife it is because it's purple. And how often do you see purple? In general, how often do you see purple? Because in my city, it's not very often. Benchmade 162. $300. Do they still make this thing? S30V at $300. Not for me. Okay, I think it's a discontinued model. But $300 is way too much for S30V. I've seen the sub brand KB. Unfortunately, the QB brand doesn't like posting my pictures. So when I post one of the pictures of this thing to be on Instagram, and I offer to have them as a collaborator, KB put it on their page, and QB didn't. Which is weird because it's a QB product, and you'd think that they'd want the picture, but apparently not. I'm not saying, again, I'm not saying it's a bad knife. I'm just saying that $300 is way too expensive for that thing. Just because I have more expensive shit doesn't mean that I'm justifying that. I'm just saying that that's too much for the materials that it's made out of. Oh, OS 10. Yeah, the 2 or 3 times that I've messed around with OS 10, heat treat was wrong. They were soft every time. And I couldn't get through a full carton of milk box from Costco before I needed to sharpen it again. And that's not a lot of cardboard. I gotta move this stone. Give me just a sec. We got a stone sitting on the floor that is right in the way. And if this continues being a pain in the ass, I might have to start using that stone. I'm pretty sure he misses you guys too. I'll tell him when he gets some time, he should go make a video talking about what's going on. It's not only just a patience thing either. Um, freehanding takes patience, but it also takes holding an angle for an extended period of time, especially with these high hardness steels. Not this one specifically, but stuff like Sebenza or 15V from Spyderco up here. Stuff like that, or especially stuff like tungsten carbide. If you don't hold an angle damn near perfect, then you destroy the edge on an expensive ass knife. So holding an angle for extended periods of time, sometimes upward of an hour, your muscles start to ache. This is a Sandrin Torino in tungsten carbide and carbon fiber. It's up for sale too. I've been trying to get rid of this thing for a little bit, but once I explain to people that the blade is not the most, first of all, it's really thin, which means hard push cuts are uncomfortable. But, and because the blade's thin and the material that it's made out of, it's not the most durable thing. I don't recommend it for hard use. But slicing tasks, like going out to a steakhouse, which I've done with that thing, and you cut up a steak and you scratch their plate on accident and you almost feel bad about it, but it's probably the first time they'll ever see a scratch on a plate. It's a little less fidget friendly than you might think. The handle is comfortable, but that blade has no section to push off of. It's so thin. My last one I used on double thick cardboard, and I did something to it that caused it to have lock rock. I sent it in, they said, "We've never seen this before," and then they sent me out another one. Alright, I'm moving over to the other stone. This is bullshit. Give me just a minute. My phone's not charging. Oh. Okay. Wipe off the previous stone. Put that thing away. Yeah. I guess we're not getting a good view of all the bubbles tonight. Oh well. Sit there and let it soak for a couple minutes. Because I don't have a place in the sink for it to go. Okay. Appreciate it. Splash and go stone my ass. Fucking soak for 5 minutes. Splash and go. Everybody sits there and lies to you on their packaging. Oh, it's a splash and go stone. Oh, you don't have to soak this shit. They're all lying. Not all of them, but I'm not saying it's a bad stone. It's a damn good stone. It just sucks that you have to wait for so long. Sitting there trying to sharpen something, and I don't prep this before streams because I don't use it very often. Beautiful. Oof. There we go. Looking better. Appreciate it. Been sitting here watching the channel die a slow and painful death, so it's nice to know that new people are still showing up. Kilakina, how's it going? Welcome back. Haven't seen you in a couple weeks. Are you driving or are you in the passenger seat? No big deal. You love California. I can't stand California. Let's be fair, I've only been to the nicer places where there's almost no people. So overall, my experience with California hasn't been terrible. Thank you. I wouldn't live there. I'd go visit, but I wouldn't live there. Hmm. I prefer small city. No, neither would I. Roy, what's up? Welcome back. The stank is back in town. Sure, but I don't want a work sharp precision adjust. thought about going with a Wicked Edge, but decided not to. Interesting. Some scratches from the cardboard. Well, the new Wicked Edge, the WE40 Carbon or something, it came out earlier this year, maybe late last year. That thing was relatively inexpensive. Go look it up. Compared to the other ones, it's priced decent. Look up Wicked Edge Carbon. Nope, not a new stone. Just wiped it off. About to pour my lemonade all over the stone. Well, as long as you're careful, you won't get bit. If I'm dropping that much money, I'm keeping it. That's how it tends to be. Sure. That's what this one was like. I think it was like a 20% restocking fee, so I decided I'll just try and sell it myself instead. Plus, it's not in new condition, so. And they need to be in new condition for them to be restockable. Yeah, with Chad Nichols Damascus. Yeah. They're pretty cool. Oh, there was something I was going to look up, and then I forgot what I was going to look up. Oh, it was on Instagram. Mm. Well, it has aftermarket support too. Gotta check something. Yeah, it's clean. Chef Rocky, what's up? How's it going? Haven't seen you in a bit. Damn it, spilled that shit everywhere. Uh, more micro serrations. Gives you more sections or more teeth per section to cut with. So how's your day going, Rocky? It also kind of depends on the steel. Some steels prefer those high grit finishes. 50 today. Happy birthday. Damn, I'm turning 25 in 2 years. A little over a year. Shit. Yeah, that's a common thing. That's why I recommend people leave it at those lower grits. And unless you care about looks, it shouldn't matter. And most of the time, I prefer performance over looks. On this one, I might not, but we'll see. So, what'd you get for your 50th? I'd guess, but most of the stuff that you seem to get's like way out of my price range, and I obviously don't know the kind of stuff that you've gotten into at this point. Had a buy sell trade in Forest, Virginia. Oh. Todd, how's it going? Welcome back. Appreciate you dropping in. Yeah, lately, if things stay like this, then I'd be happy. Lately, the channel's been sitting here. I've been doing the live streams every night like I always do. And the last week or so, I'm sitting there with like 2 people in here. I only have one of my Grail knives at the moment. I left my Sebenza at 500. I need to get some more Grail knives. But I finally got a Sebenza, so I don't think you've been here since I got it. I've got another Grail knife showing up next week. Appreciate it. 20 bucks. It's more than double what I've made on YouTube total. Chef Rocky literally just single-handedly added an extra, what, 300% on top of everything that I've earned on YouTube so far. Is it Madagascar or is it Makassar? I thought everywhere I read it said Makassar, but I'm not sure. See, I went with MagnaCut because I prefer high edge retention, and if I get something in Damascus like that, it's probably not going to be used. You have 3. Other than suffering while I'm sitting here waiting for my next Grail knife to show up, I think I'm happy with my one. Ew, a Tonto. I suck at sharpening Tontos. It's the whole reason I don't own any. So I've told everybody that I'm not telling anybody until it shows up randomly one day on stream. The hints I've given people are titanium is involved, and I spent 400 bucks on it. I just don't like sitting there suffering while sharpening something. Like sharpening the Sebenza sucked. Mine, because from the factory it had a recurve, an accidental recurve up towards the tip, and I thought it did just by looking at it. But right up here, there was a bit of a recurve, and sharpening that out took forever. But yeah, this is the most that I've ever spent in a single month on knives. For what? Just send you a message on Instagram. Hey, I'm about to drop $700 on a knife. Ah, I wouldn't doubt that you may have the knife that I bought. But I thought I got a damn good deal on it. I don't know what that is. Let's Google it. That's a pretty good deal, but not what I'm looking for personally. I tend to like the plain titanium. I do like that it's a frame lock, though. That might grow on me. Oh, it was a post on Arizona Custom, and yeah, it sold for $510. But they take 25%. Which, ew. 25% is just insane. Oh, finally. That beautiful edge I've been trying to go towards. Yeah, I think I own at least 150. Blade Bench takes 7.5. The fact that people use Arizona Custom knives still blows my mind. I'm working on it. shit ton of practice. It's all the fancy shit you got to do for that mirror edge that you don't have to have, but getting a mirror edge by hand, it's a whole different feeling. I hand do all my knives because I don't have any other way of doing shit. But for the most part, I'm happy to do them this way. I've been thinking about getting a fixed angle system for reprofiling, so it doesn't take as long. This morning. Fuck, it is morning. It's going fine. How about yourself? And welcome back, Kodiak. Oh yeah, I prefer it about 500 grit, but sometimes I just want to go for looks. And if I wanted to go back to 500, it's as easy as taking it from 3000 and then putting a 500 plate back on. If it took more effort to bring it back down to 500, I might not go to the lengths that I'm going. But since it's so easy, I just don't care. Speaking of which, here pretty soon a video is coming out on these lapping films. I feel terrible that I took so long to make the video. But I wanted to do proper testing. If these things suck and I only use them for a week, then, you know, the sucking isn't going to show up. And so far, they don't suck. So I've also sharpened more knives than I would expect anybody else to do in the amount of time that I did them in. The main one that I wanted to have testing done on was the 500 grit lapping film. I use 5 micron diamond emulsion on leather. it's not a full mirror. At the moment. Beautiful. No resistance. No paper stuck on the edge when I'm done. Ah. Weird. Actually, those diamond films weren't weren't priced terribly. The set that I got, total cost was I think after shipping like $80. They sent it to me and they didn't charge me anything, to be fair. But total cost on that thing is 70 plus shipping and tax and stuff. They've been fine for me. The 500 grit that I was wanting to test, and I need to write this down as sharpened. I was told that these things last like 10 or 12 sharpenings, and that's it. And 18, 36, and then 54 now. We are at 54 knives sharpened with that 500 grit. So I think that 54 knives is a pretty damn good test. I'm pretty sure most people will agree with me on that. Because how often is the average person going to sharpen a knife? And then multiply that amount of time by like 50. It's going to be a while. Yeah, those high grit finishes almost nobody uses. Yeah, I'm holding an angle like slightly off. There's no way I can fix that at the moment. I can. It's going to cost you though. At 1100 knives, I would probably need new sharpening equipment at least once, maybe twice. Give me some content. Then again, if I'm not mistaken, you got quite a bit of fixed blades. And there's a certain length that I won't sharpen anymore. Like anything above 5 inches, not gonna happen. Not gonna sit there and sharpen 800 5-inch knives. Yep, I made the decision. I'm dropping back down to 500 again. This shouldn't take that long. Yeah, I don't have a belt. Anything. So, by hand it is. Cody, what's up? Yep. Unless somebody asks for a mirror polished edge from me, I leave it at 500. From this thing right here. I'm gonna start making stuff, so I'm gonna need a belt system here pretty soon, but I'm probably gonna start with a 1x30 because they're cheap. I don't have the money to drop on a 2x72 or a 2x48. Yeah, that's sharp. We'll strop just a little bit, 1 or 2 passes per side, and then I will leave it right there. Okay, 1 pass on the arm. Let me wipe some stuff off first. I think I'm done sharpening for the night. This thing is soaked. You have a good one, Todd. We'll see you later. And a piece of paper. Let me say it's sharp. When one pass is all it takes. There we go. And now that one spot where I wear my watch is bald. Which means sit there and wear my watch without hair getting pulled. But yeah, that is sharp if you ask me. Now I'm actually happy to carry it. Oh, it'd help if I put the pocket clip back on before sticking it in my pocket. You can tell I'm smart. I'll admit some carbon steels are nice. Modern stainless is getting pretty impressive though. The one thing I will agree with you on with carbon steel, simple carbon steel, is they take insanely sharp edges with very little effort. Like 1095 will take a wild edge, faster than almost anything else on the table. The only steel that I've sharpened faster than 1095 was 154 cm, and that one was a wild ride. 5 minutes on stones from completely dull to sharp, shaving sharp. And when I say shaving sharp, I mean like facial shaving with zero razor burn. Well, now I got a bald spot on my cheek. You know, I probably shouldn't have done that. Now I gotta shave tomorrow morning. It's gonna look weird. That is damn sharp, though. .154 is my favorite steel. No, I shaved this morning, and you know, it just grows back fairly quick, so I usually wait, do shave, then skip a day, and then shave. I don't know where Sammy came from. I'm just gonna assume that your autocorrect hates you. You know, for $100, I've never had 14C like this. Yep, your phone hates you. Because mine doesn't hate me, even though it's still not charging. Make it so I gotta end the stream sooner than I want to. Ooh. That's a controversial take. Not really, but I gotta go check a certain steel that I'm thinking of. Oh, darn. MagnaCut is 0.7% more than 10%. Kodiak, what do you think of Crewwear? Glad to hear it. I don't know if you'd consider this a high carbon steel, but give me a sec. Yeah. I'd consider it a high carbon steel because it's very high in carbon. High carbon. This one's less corrosion resistant than West Does It. What's up? Welcome back. I've been meaning to drop by one of your streams and say something about that knife that you made. I was curious if you wanted to send it over and have it sharpened. Just pay for shipping and I'll do that. Just know that it's like really, really freaking sharp once I'm done. Yeah, the mini Sodbuster in Black Delrin only comes in a stainless option, and that annoyed me so much. Cool. If you want to reach out through email, my email is in my bio on YouTube, and we can get that worked out. I thought about it, but Whatnot wants certain information that I don't want to give them. Believe me, I might do it one of these days, but on the off chance that they have that their third-party verification thing has a breach, I don't need my name, my address, and my driver's license to be put up on the internet. Yeah, I don't have the tools to be making blades at the moment. Not yet, anyway. I can already tell that Kodiak wouldn't be the one of the people to buy one of my designs. One, they're folding knives. Two, they're frame locks. And three, they're stainless. I need to send a Sodbuster in for the blade play that it has. So Kodiak, what do you think of steels like Maximate? Hmm. Let's look up 1095 real quick. So 1095 has half the carbon. Maximate. This steel right here. Is it CPM? No, it's not. CTS Maximate. The steel is called Maximate. Right here. They put their blade steels under the company name. Interesting. Huh. That's cool. This bead blasted 14C takes a patina finish similar to 1095, but you can wipe it off. That's weird. Like you wipe your finger on it, and now it's blue. It's not going to show up on camera, I don't think, but in person, like you get blue, you get yellow. It's some weird looking stuff. And you wipe it off and it's just gone. I like that a lot. Let me look that thing up real quick. Where'd who go? Yeah, I kind of figured that's what happened for a second there. Yeah, that's some wild looking stuff. That explains why you weren't hearing me talking about the steel. I was asking what you thought about Maximate. Non-stainless, high carbon. Double the carbon of 1095. I'm going to take a wild assumption and say that you probably don't like it. Maximit's a little weird. It's a pain in the ass to sharpen without the proper tools. But as long as you don't pry with it, chances are it'll last you about forever. This is one of those knives that I will never hand to somebody. You drop it, you pry with it at all, it'll just snap, and then, yeah. No, I've had this thing for a while. It's starting to show the patina a little bit. In the corners and the edges, you can see it's starting to get darker. So yeah, you sit there and you touch it every once in a while, and as long as you don't have sweat on your hands, it'll be fine. PM2 is great. It's a great knife. Well, S30V is a powder steel, and it's fine. This is just extremely high in tungsten and high hardness, sitting at about, what was it, 67 to 69 HRC. If you are unlucky enough to do anything bad with it, it will break, and it's your fault because this shit is hard. Believe it or not, I recommend the Fastback more often than a lot of other things. It's a great setup. Let's get some other stuff out, so at least we have some new stuff to talk about. Maybe a little bit of 15V. I can't afford a shortcut. There's no way I'm going to be able to afford one of those. Like if I have money for a shortcut, I'll just buy another Sebenza or something. See, I'm sure the bug out in M390 is great. Aluminum scales, right? What does? I don't like the bug out enough to drop extra money on an expensive one that I'm not sure I'm gonna like anymore, personally. Maximit has 2.15% chromium or carbon and 4.5% chromium or something. No, that's fair. Again, I'm sure the bug out is a great knife. Every one that I've held, because I've only held the less expensive ones, feels cheap. Yes, I remember when we spelled spaghetti. And how nobody spelled it right. Holy shit, somebody spelled it right. So, for anybody who doesn't know, the other night I told everybody go into the comments and spell spaghetti without spell check. And everybody spelled it wrong. It was hilarious. Oh, yeah, no, this thing's brittle as hell. There's no way that I'd use this for anything I do with 1095 except for slicing. Yeah, if I'm going to drop that kind of money, I'm just going to get a base model and then stick titanium scales on it because every time that I've messed with aluminum scales, it's just not my thing. My Para 3 scales, I'm not sure if I like them or not. I'm still thinking about it. No, I'm not telling you it's a bad knife at all. Kodiak, what is the best steel that you would ever take? In your opinion, what is your favorite steel that you would use for everything? And again, I'm not saying the bug out's a bad knife, especially when you get it an M390 that's probably heat treated to 60 to 62. That right there is probably going to be a great knife. But I also have a bias against the lock. I don't like the crossbar lock all that much. It's just not my thing. Now, there's a Kershaw that might change my mind on that. When am I going to sing again? So, now that the YouTube channel is monetized, YouTube doesn't like me singing because I get copyright strikes. And I'm not willing to have the channel taken down because I enjoy singing. So I might make a second account specifically for some of those live streams. But other than that, probably not going to happen on this channel anymore. Oh, that's fair. Write my own song. Thought about it. I don't have any of the equipment to do any of that, though. You know what steel you might like? Oh, what was it called? I think it's Z-Tough. Let me double check. Um, yeah. Yeah, see? It's not easy to spell without spell check. Okay, let's look into Z-Tough real quick. Zap Z-Tough. 0.7% carbon, 1% vanadium, 7.5% chromium. So this stuff is about 4 times tougher than 1095. Yeah, that surprises me, considering for a company that offers a lifetime sharpening service, you'd think that they'd sharpen shit well. That's disappointing right there. Now, I don't know if you can find this on any knives at the moment. It's slightly tougher than 5160. For the price, I think Spyderco is the best. Especially their base models in like S45. Those are hard to beat. Do I have a knife sharpening service? Yes and no. I don't usually take things shipped in. But I do sharpen stuff locally. Yeah, I sharpen my own stuff too. I don't live in Ohio, nope. I live stream when I'm bored. And lately I kind of just wait for people to show up because YouTube's been screwing me out of people watching. I don't make a ton of money doing it, but I do it for my local pawn shop and make like 20 bucks every time I go. So it's better than nothing. I wish this thing was halfway decent. Well, at the moment, I've been streaming for 2 hours. I usually spend 3 to 4 hours live streaming. I hate doing kitchen knives so much. I have a genuine disdain for kitchen knives. I don't even use our own. I use a pocket knife instead. Oh, did you go sit there and look through all my shit that I posted? Am I gonna get like 80 notifications that I gotta like? You were gone for a while. Damn. What was that, an hour? I swear that there's another name for that stuff. Yep, I do that. X50 and When you look up X50, it should show up immediately. So that's 5CR15. Or 440A. Oh, no, it's not 440A. I do not have a Spyderco Civilian, nope. My day's been alright. Yeah, I charge like 5 a knife. My local knife shop charges 8, and I travel to them, so. And my turnaround's a day instead of a week. I haven't had very many people take me up on the offer for that service, though. Oh, he's just some random kid. He's probably not that good, or something like that. I know what's going through their heads. Yeah, I'm bored quite often as well. You can tell because I live stream daily. And yeah, I don't use belts at all. I do it all by hand. And the knife shop uses belts. I just feel like a belt removes more material faster than it needs to. And I think I enjoyed driving without traffic more than anything else. It kind of depends. I think my longest stream was like 9, but I average like 4. I use Lacey's Diamond Stuff. And yes, shake well because all the dye sits at the bottom and all the diamonds do too. I've never touched a fixed angle system. Stuff's like $23, free shipping in the US. And you can get it on Blade Binge. Genuinely, I don't think I've ever seen a fixed angle system in person. So that right there should tell you something. I may be buying one of these days to help me with reprofiling. So all I'll be using is like a 100 grit stone on that thing, and that's it. And then after that, I'll do it all by hand. I do use leather for the strop. And the leather I use can be bought on Amazon. Give me just a sec. I will show you where you can find. I do not have a drop bear, but I've held one, which isn't saying a whole lot. Okay. So if you go on to Aiden, what's up? If you go onto my stream and then you click right here and then you go over to playlists, it's this top playlist right here. And this video right here by Outdoors 55, in the description, that's where I got the leather that I use. And hopefully it's still available. There we go. It is 72 inches long. Damn. And I only do 6-inch lengths at a time. But yeah, this is the stuff that I use. And for how many strops you get out of it, it's pretty cheap. No, that's fair. I did that because it was cheap. 72 divided by 33. No. 72 divided by 6. So 12. 33 divided by 12. It's $2.75 per strop that I make. Is this recording? On my end it is, yeah. You won't be able to see comments, but yes, the stream will be uploaded publicly once this is done. Yeah, and then when we're talking about specialty steels, again, I have a decent amount of these. Well, I have 2 specialty steels that I wouldn't use belts on either of these. 15V and Maximate. I need to wear this thing back in. Maybe I just need to get rid of all the grease that's in there. A belt sander. And Aiden, I've figured the QB right here. The QB Tidius is probably heat treated to around 61 HRC. Just based on how it sharpens. A dual bearing pivot, what do you mean by that? Yeah, it's the same as a belt sander, is what we're talking about. It's literally just a belt sander. That's it. First of all, I don't know what you mean by dual bearing pivot. And then second of all, for what knife? You have a good one, Kodiak. We'll see you later. Have fun streaming. At least one of you is going to find that streaming comment funny. 2 sets of bearings per side. Why not just double row bearings? I'm glad somebody picked that up. I'm sitting there thinking somebody's going to find that shit hilarious. And nobody else is going to understand what I said. Aiden, that's actually not a bad idea, now that I think about it. I'm sitting there thinking about how I could make that work, and it wouldn't take a whole lot of modification to make it work. Has anybody done that yet? Yeah, I've seen those. What were they called? Dragonoxes? Never gotten my hands on one, but they look kind of cool. Oh. Okay, well, that's probably the best option of what could have fallen off. Well, might try that. Because again, it wouldn't take a whole lot of modification to make it work. Then there's also the fun side of I can make it use both. That's what I've always been worried about with bearings, is I hate how there's a slight bit of blade play with them, which is why I kind of have a bias against them. That's why those dual row ones. Carrie, what's up? That's why the dual row bearings from Skiff are pretty cool. Is I figure it gives more contact, so less movement. I'll look into it. So somebody recommended that I look into. Damn, I forgot his name already. Gonzo recommended I look into somebody to have the guy 3D model my design for me. The guy has something to do with New Breed. I know that. But I just don't remember his name for some reason. Probably because I suck at remembering shit. I'm not talking about just 3D printing, more the side of having it allowed to be commercially used. Because the 3D modeling software I have doesn't have a commercial license option. Of course, I need the model 3D printed first, but I also... metal 3D printing would be cool. Not gonna happen though. I didn't know this, but that's how SM100 was made. Back in 2016, they were using metal 3D printing for that shit. There we go. I don't know if the dude that owns the company is still around. Sounds like a plan. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of your night, and we'll see you next time. Just a fun little question for everybody. You all know that Lindsay's a dude, right? I had to ask. Oh, shit. Wish it was always that smooth. Helps when it doesn't have the pivot in there. Fucking slam shut. I was wondering at first, then he went and followed me on Instagram and was like, oh, figured that shit out pretty quick. Beautiful. Nice and smooth. That's how that thing should have been. Wish the Sebenza was like that. Nice. Restoration work is always fun when it works out. Don't be laughing at me. When you drop that much money on a knife, maybe you'll want it to be smooth too. You'd put bearings in the Sebenza? Gross. I don't think that's an option. There isn't enough space to fit bearings. Oh, wait. No, yeah, there's cutouts in the, at least I think there's cutouts in this. Let's find out. Hey, Aiden, if you're still around. Oh, I didn't know that you could do that. Something cool happened today. Yeah, if you mod that, or if that takes a modification to work, then you instantly void the warranty. I got a $20 donation today. Like, if it doesn't take any modification to do it, maybe, but it will also leave trails that make it obvious. I wanted to see if it needed cutouts to work or not. It'll be put back together anyway. It's not like I've never done this before. This one has been taken apart like 4 times. Actually, we can just check right here. Yep. See how there's a cutout in there? And how there's a line. That line is the ball bearings pressing up against the steel insert in this titanium scale, or in these titanium handles. Oh, and there's ceramic. See, I don't have the money to be doing shit like that. I'd kick my own ass for doing that. Likewise, Kilakina, you have a great night. We'll see you later. You know what blows my knife is that this shit isn't standard. And I'll show you what I mean by this shit here in a sec. I don't enjoy walking, no. Give me just a sec. It is a very nice knife for the price. Camera app. Google Photos. That's dumb. Google Lens. Translate. That's unfortunate, man. That really sucks. So Cedric said, my subscription to this channel doesn't even make sense anymore, since as of last week, knives are no longer available on online sites for French people. Dictatorship is underway. So I'm mildly irritated that this little ball bearing in here isn't standard on every knife. Instead of being steel, it's ceramic. So it wears significant, well, it doesn't wear, basically. Where the hell are you from, Zimbabwe? For anybody who doesn't understand what that means, look up what the, what was it called? Zimbabwean inflation or something. Fucking insane numbers. Their dollar wasn't worth shit back when that happened. Yeah, when $1 trillion in Zimbabwe money wouldn't even get you a thing of bread. Hyperinflation, that's what it's called. A South American country had that happen too. I don't remember which one though. Anyway, you saw the inside of this one and how it has cutouts for those bearings. The Sebenza doesn't have those cutouts. About the worst part of owning a Sebenza is every time you take it apart, it needs broken in again. I don't have an Umumzan showing up. I think I've decided at that price I'm not gonna buy one. Unless I can get one for new price, because everywhere else has them. Yes. Mostly the opening and closing them. Yeah, I'm not buying a left-handed aluminum sawn. So as you can see, there are no cutouts on this. There's a shit ton of grease, but there's no cutouts. It's a nice solid chunk of titanium though. No, there is no blade play. I do love that about these things. Okay. Now it's ready to be put back in. At this point, I just grease it every time that I take it apart. And actually, putting more grease in it has prevented other issues, which is weird, but it works, so I don't question it anymore. I don't use mineral oil super often anymore. No, I'm more than willing to say that your Benchmade fully broken in is probably smoother than this. No, I don't use mineral oil when I'm bored. Very deliberate. That's how they describe it. If you want this thing open, you want it open. Okay, now for putting it back together, you grab this, you slide it in, then you grab this, stick it through the back, and then you push on the lock bar and wiggle it around until it fits. Bam. Then you go and you tighten this down as hard as you want. And then you grab a Q-tip. Weirdest knife. I don't know. You grab a Q-tip and you wipe up all the excess grease from sliding that thing in there. Okay, and when that's all done, there is one more step. And this step is a pain. Kinda. No, you actually talk a lot less than one other person that I have in mind, but I don't remember their name. But you're giving me things to talk about, so I'm not going to complain. Very, very little amount of grease. And there's that lock bar right there. The thing I'm pointing at right there, put some right there. Okay. Then on the corner, right up there, you're going to put some on top, which means on this side of the blade. There we go. And it's all broken in again. Which it always failed like half the time on camera, so another option, and I almost prefer this option, which is kind of dumb to do now that I've already put it back together. So you're going to get a little bit of grease again. And on the lock bar insert, which is that ceramic ball that you can see right in there, you're going to push the lock bar over and put it on that. Okay. I think the knife that I've carried the most was the Ontario Rat 2. I carried that thing for like 2 months straight. Yeah, they do. Did you want to see that up close, or that's what the lock bar is the whole thing that it rides on is that ball. So even when it's fully open, the only thing touching the blade is that ball. The Oz Machine Company Roosevelt does something similar. I'll show you that thing. It's actually pretty cool. Yeah. Everybody calls it the Rosie. I will always call it the Roosevelt. So theirs looks like this. It's got 2 ceramic ball bearings, and the lock bar is right there. But once it wears down from that, it's setting on 3 points of contact, which is that lock bar and the 2 ball bearings that are sitting right off the edge. Pretty interesting stuff. So that inside the Roosevelt looks like this. Well, wow, that was super helpful. So that's what it looks like. And once that section wears down enough, it rides on this and these 2. And being where these 2 are placed, I'm sure you've noticed that if you open a knife, just listen for a sec. 2 clicks. So those 2 clicks are characterized by how the lock bar insert looks. Specifically where the give me just a sec, let me put some tools away and then we'll take this thing apart again. Oh, I put them in the wrong spots. I think I've ever done that one before. Yeah, well, we still have it out. Well, sure, but you're not the only person in here, so we're going to show it to everybody. It's cool to learn something, and since we have 9 people in here instead of lately where I've been having 2, I would like to show some people something interesting. Maybe they'll stick around. Oh, it says 9 for me. I'm in America. Cody's in Canada. Oof. Okay. Pop that piece out right there. Okay, so where this is placed, instead of being on the edge, you'll notice a little bit of wear right up here and on the actual lock bar insert over here. So let's go ahead and take the blade out. So The detent ball rides along this path right here, and when it breaks off the path, it clicks down, and then as the blade goes further, okay, so it's like this, and then it locks in right there. So you'll see on here some light wear marks in a line in this direction. We'll see you later, Ari. You have a good one. Which is this section riding like this. Like this. Congrats on hitting number 1, by the way. So the thing I like most about lock bar inserts is you can change them out. Which I know this sounds weird, but I would like to have aftermarket lock bar inserts for my designs when they're frame locks. And have different options for detent balls. And when I say different options, I mean different material options, ranging from steel at the lowest entry level to next up would be ceramic like these, and then last would be zirconia ceramic, which are harder and smoother than regular ceramic. As far as I've seen, aftermarket lock bar inserts are not an option on any other knife yet. And I'm not worried about damage, I'm just worried about, you know, that little bit of extra aftermarket support is just cool. Like, what's it going to cost? $5-6? I love aftermarket support. I do. So everything that I can do to come out with some aftermarket shit for no, my name's not Brian. Everything I can do to come out with some aftermarket shit for my designs, I will do what I can. The downside of all this, as everybody knows, it costs money. Nope. Gonna be honest, it's been a nice calm night, and I prefer to keep it that way. Oh, I don't do fishing content. I haven't gone fishing in years. Shreyan, what's up? How's your night going? There's nothing to be sorry about, though. Just a question. It's interesting that somebody thinks that I sound like somebody else, though. Never had that happen before. Squeak. I'm looking into stuff right now. Wish I would have known that that was an option. Well, YouTube, come up with a new thing for us to talk about. If you could have a mythical pet, well, that's it. Not what would it be, just if you could have a mythical pet? Question mark. Kunwu. I've heard of them. That's where I've heard of them. Let me look at some of their knives real quick and tell you what I think. I know I didn't like the Excalibur when it came out, and I still don't. And the reason why I don't like it is it's the most generic looking knife I've ever seen. It's It looks like every other knife I've ever seen. There's nothing special about it, if you ask me. And I get that that was the whole point. I completely understand that that was the idea. But I don't like that idea. I've heard of that knife. Yeah, I've heard of that knife. I thought about trying it out and decided not to. I'll deal with the weight for a good enough knife. I'll complain about it the whole time, but I'll deal with it. God, you sit there and compare this fake to the real thing, and the more you look, the worse it gets. Probably Para 3 still. Spyderco Para 3. I'll need to actually get out and use the Sebenza before I say that it's my favorite. And at the moment, it just isn't. Every Para 3 that I've gotten straight out of the box has been nearly perfect. And out of the box, that Sebenza had issues. So they're sharp enough for it, but I wouldn't recommend it. This one is sharp enough to shave your face without razor burn. Why would I send it back? Just drive over and have them fix it, which I did twice. Which is the problem. I had to go twice. It's good now, but I told them, I said, like, in a nice way, I said, it's just when I'm spending this much money on a knife, I want it to be perfect. And of all the people I said that to, I said it to Chris's wife. So not only am I like sounding like an ungrateful douchebag, but I'm saying it to his wife. It doesn't get any more wild than that, to be honest. Unless I went and said it to his son, too. Which I could have done that. But she's a very business oriented. When you talk to her, she's all business. There's no, well, there's a little bit of, hey, how you doing? But more of, she wants to get shit done. And I appreciate that so much. She got that shit done quick. I think everything Both times that I visited with problems, I was there for less than 10 minutes. So that's great. A couple people might find, or people might find her a little curt and not very friendly, but you know, when you get shit done quick, I'm not going to complain. She was great. Got the problem narrowed down, went and had somebody else do it, and everything was all said and done. With issues, I've spent less than 15 minutes in there, I think. Now, visiting, I've spent more time visiting than I have with issues, so that's great. It's great customer service, yeah. In person, they're great. I'm sure they're great over email, too. It's just there's no point in sending an email when I could just drive there like 15, 20 minutes. Koenig has been great too. Although they don't have a lobby, so they talk over email and they won't let you in the building. It is great that I live that close to so many badass knife makers. Now you're getting it. See, I'm already poor. Part of it's due to housing costs, but the rest of it's due to this problem that I have called YouTube. Well, a big chunk of it's housing costs, but the rest of it, again, is the channel. And short of paying for that modification for the next knife, I think all the rest of the money that I use is going to be going towards the channel. Hmm. Wonder how much it would cost to do reverse tooling if I wanted to do left-handed knives as well. Because I don't only want right-handed versions of my knives. Buying for reviews buying and selling stuff. After this next Grail Knife is done, then for a while it's just going to be buying and selling shit for the channel. And then doing reviews and then selling those knives. Of course, unfortunately you're in Canada, but of course US viewers get first dibs on shit. Well, why'd you come back? Why'd you leave? I knew you left, but why? Because I'm bored. I need a haircut. Holy shit. Bam. Damn, I'm good. Because you talked about being bored earlier. I'm sure that they will. I mean, I get pretty bored too. I don't question people's ages in here. Because I don't care. You're here watching content. Your personal information is none of my business unless I'm shipping you something. Other than that, I need to know nothing about you. So here in about 11 minutes, I'm going to end the stream. My phone is dying as we speak. Look, one of these days I'll get a new cord, but at the moment it's at 25%. So, yay, fun. Boo, as in I'm ending the stream soon. Yes, we did. Very. I think it was 4 a.m. before I ended the stream. And I went to bed after 5. Yeah, so late it was early. Okay, so then it was 5 when I ended the stream. And then I went and had a snack. Then I went to bed. Fucking piece of shit pocket clip. You will never be a real pocket clip. The real ones are better. Ah, yes. Pulling an all-nighter. I remember high school. Barely. Slept through a good chunk of it. No, the double pinch point's great. Believe me when I say that. It's just on this one, it's garbage because it's a fake one. The real one's amazing. You gotta try it before. That's one of those things that you have to try. It's amazing. No, it's great. It feels like a regular pocket clip when you pull it out. You may have one. Yeah, exactly. The real ones, it's just different. I think you said that earlier. Sorry, the chair made noise. No, that's the chair. Like, this one's uncomfortable too, but the old one was terrible. I don't answer questions like that. Reflection. LIAR. I think white roses look cool. Look who's number one now. I don't know. The YouTube experience system makes no sense. Something like that. If you say so. So in about 3 minutes, we're going to go ahead and end the stream. And yes, you were the top talker earlier. I just say that the people in the top 3 are the people who suck at shutting up. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, it's just an entertaining way of saying it. I have 3 Swiss Army knives. Not pulling them out right now, though. I probably won't be getting them out tonight at all. Okay, so it is a steel detent ball. I'm sure you do ask well. I would say I do ask well as well, but I don't think YouTube wants me saying that either. Oh, as well, yeah. That makes a lot more sense now. No, those were 2 completely different meanings. I do as well, and I do as well are 2 completely different meanings. Cody's sitting there laughing his ass off. That's why he's not saying anything. Yeah, but one letter is all it takes. Yes, but a different letter in a word spells a different word. And the meaning of as is different from the meaning of ass. As long as you know. I'm sorry. I spelled that wrong. As long as you know. Those are two of my three. I have no clue what models they are. But when I went to St. Thomas, I wanted to get a knife to remember that cruise that I went on. And was searching everywhere. We went to, what was it, Little Switzerland or something? And all they had was the plastic ones. No, St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands or whatever. Somewhere down by Florida. Anyway, they only had the plastic ones, and I wanted one of the A-locks. So, since I figured it's probably the last place they're going to have one, and the last place that we're going to go, or that everybody else will go with me to, I went and bought it. I think it was $30. No, it was 45, and I wasn't super happy with that, but it was kind of all I could do. And then on the way back to the ship, we dropped by one last place looking at watches, and out of the corner of my eye, in the little display case, I noticed this. And I was like, well, shit. The ship's about to leave. How much can I get this shit for? So, I got this one for like 25. I couldn't take it out of the cruise ship room. So, I'm sitting there. I got this kind of cool looking knife in. Yeah, sure seems like it, Ari. In my room, and I can't take it out to dinner. I can't take it anywhere. Can't go take pictures of it. Can't do anything. So, yeah. I think that these are my third and fourth Victorinox Swiss Army knives. And my second is this one, a matte plastic florist. It's a single blade. Victorinox, Switzerland. I sucked at sharpening with this thing. Aluminum liners, though. Kind of cool. Anyway, you know what? I might as well finish it out to 3 hours and 40 minutes. So, got a little under 2 minutes. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them now and I'll answer them as best as I can. Please keep them related. To the channel. I haven't watched his channel in a long time, and I don't remember what stopped me from watching his channel. I think it was something that he did, like stopped doing the God, I don't know what it was. I think he stopped doing repairs for a while, and that's the only reason that I watched him, was to see him do repairs. Favorite food is a dessert called tiramisu. And it's the only dessert that isn't sweet that I like. It's not overly sweet, and a lot of the other shit that I like is pretty sweet. Yeah, and I think I just stopped watching once he stopped doing those. If I wanted to see thrift store purchases and stuff, I'd go do it myself. Or if I wanted to go to pawn shops, hint, hint, I'd go do it myself. Meringue pie. Good choice. Good choice. Anyway, any other questions, comments, concerns? You can leave out the concerns. I'm not worried about them. Not going to answer that one. Thank you, Cody. Ari, you have a good one. And we'll go ahead and end it there. Hopefully, you guys have a great rest of your night, day, morning, whatever it is. And we'll see you in the next one. Yes, I know you were kidding. That much was obvious.